So with this particular track, what I have a number of tracks. I have 1, 2, 3, and 3. Well, actually 3 tracks. With those 3 tracks, what I did is, well, I made one sample track. Those are drums. So I downloaded this sample pack. When I downloaded this sample pack, this was the sample I actually went for. With that particular sample, before I did anything to it, like add effects or anything like that, well, I actually chopped the sample up. When I chopped the sample up, I figured the way that I wanted to play the sample, which in turn, I kind of did this. How did I do that? I went right here in the track. But you have something here that says bounce to sample right there. When I bounced at the sample, then I came out with another sample. Go right here to this track right here. I came out with this sample. It was all on one pad. I took the sample from the first program, bounced it to an audio file, or really a sample, and then I chopped it up. After I chopped it up, I went into mix and came here, and then I added all of my filters. I added a low pass filter. I added a limiter so that I could bring the sound up. I put a para EQ on it. After the para EQ, I added a maximizer, and I saved my effects chain. And after saving my effects chain, that's when, I took it a step further. So I bounced all of this to another, basically another drum program. So this was that was the sample. Bounced it to a drum program, and then I chopped it up, and then made sure I added all those effects to it. The low pass filter. And one person question was, well, why do you do that? If I wanted to do mutes and do different things with the sample, I could do that as far as the bass is concerned. So this is how my drums sound. That's it for right now, because this is just a sketch. This sample pack, the drums, the kit, the drums actually come from Bolo. These are Bolo's drums. So these are Bolo's drums. This comes from his X Factor kit. This is Bolo drums. Bolo? Yep, they're really good. They do sound really good. One track has a high pass filter, the other track has a low pass filter, and all I wanted to do is just make a quick bass line. You're just trying to take out all the highs so that you'll have a deeper bass. And then sometimes you may need to add effects to make it sound a little lower. So if I was to play that second track by itself, didn't come out the way I wanted, but it still filtered out the highs. So it adds a different dynamic to the track. So that's kind of what I did to filter bass, and I hope that answers the questions when they say, I got lost. That step was first, get your sample, chop your sample, record your sample. After you record your sample, you want to bounce the track to a sample. After I bounced the track to a sample, I created a new program. After I created a new program, I chopped the sample. After I chopped the sample the way I wanted to, went to my mix tab and I added effects. A little hard to see, but I added a low pass filter. the air limiter. I add a para EQ and I add the air maximizer just to give it a little bit of, make it louder. But then in the mix, I turned everything down because I didn't want it to fight with the 808 drums. Bolo. Yeah, Bolo. His X Factor kit. Real dope kit. I went back to track 1. As you can hear, this is track 1 right here. I'm going to solo it. Kind of low. Kind of hard to hear, right? I added a high pass filter to it. So if I go here to the mix, so I added my high pass filter. So that was to answer the gentleman's question. So yeah, so that was that. That's a quick way to filter bass.